With the death of Marcus Aurelius and the assassination of his son Commodus, many historians see this as the beginning of the end for the Roman Empire. Rome is beginning to erode from the inside out and the outside in. It's having trouble maintaining its frontiers. There is an economic depression. There's an increase in corrupt bureaucracy throughout the empire. Hadrian had ordered the end of expansion. I didn't mention that, but Hadrian had stopped all expansion to maintain. And what we see is the slow chipping away and compromising of the empire. So with the assassination of Commodus, who will rule? Outbreak of civil war. Let's fight to the death and see who wins. And that's exactly what happened. Generals stationed around the empire gather their loyal troops to take Rome. The victor this time around is our next emperor, Septimius Severus. I love his name, Septimius Severus. Here we have the official royal family portrait. We have Septimius Severus, his wife Julia, and their two young sons, Geta and Caracalla. I know, Geta's missing a face. We'll talk about why and how that happened. But let's just pretend his face is there while we appreciate this happy family. Septimius Severus was a general in the Roman army. He was born in North Africa. His wife, Julia, came from Syria, and so their union and their establishment as emperor and empress of the Roman Empire was seen as quite new and refreshing, that they were symbolic of the larger expanse of Rome. Their two sons, Geta and Caracalla, were raised with the idea that they would rule together, co-rulers of Rome. Now, this is not a new idea. I didn't talk about it because it didn't have a significant effect on the artworks, but our previous emperors, like Marcus Aurelius, did have co-rulers. But it would always be that one ruler would take more power or attention than the other. So Geta, the one that doesn't have a face, and Caracalla were brought up to be co-rulers. But before we get to the two brothers, let's look at Septimius Severus. Look at his facial hair. So he's a philosopher. Septimius Severus is trying to look like Marcus Aurelius, to look like Hadrian. Why would he want to do that? Well, because those were really great emperors. And coming into power, Septimius Severus is trying to ingratiate himself with the people. I, too, am a philosopher. I was a general, and now I am a philosopher. Look at how there's gray in his beard. So he's not showing himself as this young, optimistic soldier like Augustus. Instead, he shows himself to be aged, experienced, wise, a dusting of handsome gray in his beard and in his hair. So we see direct correlation with the past, the five good emperors. And he's trying to say, I'm just like them. I'm good. Trust me. I know we just had a civil war. Please don't kill me like you killed Commodus. Additionally, look at the abstraction of the features. This is very different than what we saw in those beautiful mummy portraits from Egypt. We are still looking at a work done in encaustic, so the material isn't to blame. This is an imperial portrait that is turning away from the more accurate or naturalistic representations of the face to be more abstract or symbolic. Those large eyes, piety. There still is understanding of highlights, midtones, and shadows. True. So what we see in this portrait is some use of the past, the philosopher's beard, to call back to Hadrian, Marcus Aurelius, but also this transition into a more abstract representation of self. One more thing, period style. I'm calling this late imperial. So with the death of Commodus, thus ends the height of the Roman Empire, and we are now transitioning into what is called the late imperial period. Now let's talk about Geta and Caracalla. Okay. Septimius Severus dies, and Geta and Caracalla are supposed to inherit together. Caracalla does not want to share, and so he immediately orders for the death of his brother and his brother's wife, so that there will be no little baby Getas. And then he orders the systematic erasure of Geta in all royal portraiture. You take away somebody's power by taking away their face. Think about what this means of our leader, Caracalla, that he can kill his own brother and sister-in-law and then erase them from existence. What kind of a man is he? What kind of a leader will he be? Let's find out. Let's look at his official royal portrait in our next artwork.